Okay, we'll make a start. So, ena mana, ena reo, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi. Welcome everybody, and we'll hand over to Reka to do our karakia, if that's all right. Thank you, Reka. Reka, because we've got people online, if you don't mind turning your mic on, that'd be awesome.
Sorry, yes. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa ponamu te moana. He huarahi mā tātou i te rangi nei, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou i a tātou kātua, huie tai ki
Thank
e.
you.
Do you want the translation? Yes.
If you prefer, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry about that. May peace be widespread. May the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this day. Let us show respect for each other, for one another. Bind us together.
Ngā mihi nui. Thank you, Reka. Welcome everybody, and everyone online, if you can welcome Gary, Councillor Gottlieb. Can you hear us okay?
I can, thank you.
Thank you. We'll get straight into it. Do we have any apologies? There being none. Any conflicts of interest to declare? There being none. We don't have public forum today, do we? No. Okay. So we'll crack straight into the meeting schedule for 2025, item 2.1. We have it in front of us. I would like to move that we adopt this. Is there any discussion on the meeting schedule? Peter, please.
Thanks, Len. So well done, Ari, or whoever the team putting this together. And I think it's really good, and I think it's fantastic. We have gaps for school holidays. Based on this year's experience, it seems that there always ends up being a need to do something during school holidays. And I wonder whether it might be useful in those school holiday breaks to perhaps say, well, let's put a holding meeting date in one of the weeks or 2 days in one of the weeks, so that as we plan what we might want to do next year, we say, oh, well, look, we'll plan it for the first week of the holidays because there might be a meeting in the second week. That was just a suggestion.
I go away for 2 weeks most times with the family.
Through the chair, we're happy to consider that.
Thank you, Councillor Revel. Was there any particular school holiday period that pops up more than the others?
So what I did this year was planned things in school holidays, and it became awkward for me not being able to be, or sort of where I wanted to be. School holidays are just school holidays, and we do what we want to do whenever. Yeah.
Thanks, Peter. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Terry, please.
Yeah, no, I agree with what's going on there. I'd just like to know if we'll get an A3 copy in time, please, with the, what do you call it?
Through the chair, that staff are working on that now. You'll have a laminated copy.
That's great, yeah.
And also, Ari, that'll be in the in resolve on elected member information as well. So there'll be an electronic copy there, Terry, that you can just jump into resolve and look at that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the chair, and also it will be on the public website.
Thank you. Reka, did you have a question?
Yeah. 24th of March. I cannot find WCDEM TBC. I know it needs to be confirmed, but what is that?
Through the chair, that we were going to include some of the external committees, so that would have been the Waikato Civil Defence.
Sorry. Yeah.
But we have decided not to, and I believe that is just our omission.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No further questions. Can I get a seconder, please? John, Grant, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. Item 2.2, adoption of audited annual report. Page 6. A lot of work gone into this, and really impressed with the presentation and the way that this has come together. I know these things are always challenging. I had my own session with the auditors, and they seemed pretty comfortable actually. And I was, as I'm talking to them, bearing in mind that these auditors are talking to councils and mayors all around the country on a regular basis, they seem to have a level of comfort and confidence in Aileen and her team and the way that they've put this together, which was reassuring from my point of view. So I would like to move this one as well from the chair, please. Can I get a seconder? Delhi, thank you. And we'll hand over to Kath and to Hayden. And Aileen, please, if there's any comments or contribution you'd like to make at any stage, please just jump in. Thank you. Hayden.
Through the chair, I'll take the report as read. I've just got a so in terms of the process, audit have been auditing right up till now. They continue to look for documentation, and at this stage of the audit, they're kind of looking to do like just really tidy ups and sort of how we classify things and stuff like that. So yeah, the process has been pretty standard one. It gets a bit sort of draining towards the end, but we've got there. So I've just got to hand out
Can I ask, are they those 3 pages of which were sent yesterday? If so, I've printed them out and have them.
Gary, no, I think they are additional.
So well, I got some additional yesterday and 3 pages, and I printed, and I thought that was what's handing out now.
What Hayden's handing out now is some financial information. It's got adjustments to the draft annual report.
Okay.
Have you got those?
No, I haven't. I just got the changes made to draft report, and that's doesn't mention figures. That's all right.
Yes, please.
So
I'm happy.
We'll get those emailed to you right now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
there is 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, Hayden. Is that right?
Yes. And I'll just quickly walk you through them. So the first one was just a reclassification of cash flow in terms of between intangible assets and payments to suppliers. So we made that adjustment, and that affected the rec at the bottom as well. And then over the page, there were just a few adjustments to receivables. There were some wording changes that audit wanted around our valuation. So they just wanted it to reflect what the valuers had put in their report. So we updated it around how we value land. In terms of our disposal and WIP, they just wanted us to disclose that slightly better. They just wanted us to break it out. In our insurance data, we got some more up-to-date insurance sort of figures for our insurance disclosure. And and then the final one was just a movement between our council reserves, which they just wanted us to reflect as well. Yeah, and they asked us to take out the software as a service note, as they didn't think we really needed it anymore. So they're the main adjustments that we've made since we sent out the adjustments on Tuesday, the annual report on Tuesday. In effect, I thought I'd just walk you quickly through the differences between the risk and assurance and the copy that you were sent.
Hayden, do you mind referring us to pages, please, if you're going to walk us through this stuff so that councillors know exactly where you are and what we're talking about?
Yes. Just bring it up, sorry. Okay, so probably the main change was in pages 71 in our statement of comprehensive income. We had to write off the SaaS software that I mentioned at the risk and assurance meeting. So that's that affected expenses. And then the other adjustment that we had within our comprehensive income was that there was a correction to the valuations of the buildings, which was picked up, and that meant instead of having a negative revaluation movement, we had a positive revaluation movement of 2.9 million. So they were the two major changes through that document. And we had a few tidies up through the non-financial performance measures, but they were largely just with wording, weren't they? So yeah. So they're the two things. Yep.
Peter, please.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Hayden. Just on the notes that you've handed out on the very back page.
Yes.
So under the local water done well, I think just there's a typo right at the end there. The water service, I think it should be water service delivery plan at the end of the note on the top of the page. And at the very bottom, where you're just talking about the roading costs with roading capital expenditure and 717,091,000 of roading, you've got stray words in there, I think, that are not making much sense.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll get Jesse I'll get the team to update that. Yeah.
Any other questions? Clarifications?
Just quick one.
Terry?
Is this the end with the auditors with you? Or like, have they finished?
They I'm hoping so. What tends to happen is they obviously we adopt, and then sometimes they want a bit more documentation for their file. So they've obviously done all their workings in that, and they often do come back for the odd bit of documentation, just to support their workings. They'll have it mostly there, but they tend to sort of.
Okay.
Hayden, and a clarification, please. And if we look on the sheet that you've just handed us out, on the left-hand side of page 2, item 102, disposals.
Yes.
Disposal of work in progress for the year was 1.8 million.
Yes.
Crossed out and replaced with 53.6 million. I'm just a bit confused by how we go from 1.8 million to 53.6 million.
53. Let me just. Page 2.
Donna's got a hand up.
Yeah.
Was this in relation to the question that I just asked while Hayden's looking at it?
It wasn't. Sorry, I don't have that in front of me. Basically, while Hayden's looking for that, really what I wanted to say is that I have spoken to Carl Vessels, the audit director, this morning, and he has confirmed that yes, they have virtually finished the audit. They are just doing a few more checks and things, but it's not going to it won't affect you signing the annual report now or today. It's really basically the tidying up of their work papers and things at their end, and stuff that just a few additional work papers and things that they've asked us for. They're satisfied that the accounts that you've got in front of you now are a true reflection of our situation, of our audit. So we can take some comfort that's fine. There will be a representation letter that is in draft at the moment that we will ask you, Mayor Len, and Aileen to sign today. And once that we've been given the draft opinion, but once that rep letter is signed, they'll give us the final opinion that we can then upload into the actual annual report to finalise the document.
Thank you, Donna. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
John, you had a question, but Hayden, did you?
Yes.
Sorry, we'll come to you, John, in a second.
Yeah, so work in progress, they wanted us to break that out. What happens there is they wanted us to show the assets that go from work in progress and become capitalised, and it was going through. It wasn't sort of like they want us to. In terms of our presentation, they wanted us to not just have it going through disposals. So the delta between 53.6 and 51.7, those two were kind of netting out on one another. So they wanted us to actually explain what has been actually transferred from WIP into our fixed asset registers.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Hayden. John, do you have a question?
Oh, thanks. Just on 102, the insurance of council assets, I think is a typo in that line there, which is total value of assets that are self-assured. I think it should be self-insured. And can you just explain to me the difference between the total value of council assets and the amount to which the insured the assets are insured? I presume that's the difference between the depreciated value, is it, and the replacement value of items? Or
I'm pretty sure that we'll have to ask just this Paco in the room. The total value of assets. So the insurance team basically go and look at all of our assets, and that'll include mostly our plant, property, and equipment. So things like land and whatnot won't be insured, and it's insured at sort of the replacement cost of those sort of assets.
But just for clarification, because it's a little confusing to me, because it says assets covered by insurance contracts. So land would not be covered by an insurance contract. So I just.
So they do it. Yeah, they do an assessment of the assets that council assets, and of our sort of all of our assets. What they're saying there is that 1.045 billion is covered by insurance contracts.
Well, I thought it was the next item, which is the maximum amount to which the insured the assets are insured, is 346 million. But anyway, I'm happy to take it offline. It's just, I think the way it's described is just a little confusing.
Thank you, John. Terry, you had a question? Oh, sorry.
No.
Before I come to you, Donna, did you have something to add on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this disclosure is an accounting treatment disclosure that is required under accounting standards. It's a lot of accounting standards, in my view, don't make sense, but I think then the disclosure that we've got in here, the maximum amount to which insured assets are insured, that I believe is like a maximum amount per asset. So basically the total value of all council assets covered by insurance is, as Hayden said, is 1.1 billion. The maximum amount to which insured assets are insured is, I believe, is like per asset. So like if you had an asset that was worth more than 347 million, it would only be insured up to that amount. That's my understanding, but of what this disclosure is saying, it's not. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to the general reader. And then the next line is the 1.1 million is the assets covered by our financial risk sharing. And that's through the contracts that we have with Aon. So basically we are insured. We buy our insurance through Aon in conjunction with a whole lot of other councils through CoLab. So we get a benefit from that. So that's what we have got insured under that model. And so we don't, and I don't know why we haven't disclosed the self-assured, the value of assets that are self-assured, but we do have some assets obviously that are.
I think the most relevant part of that is that we don't self-insure. I think that's the indication here, which is, an indication that we 100% insure our assets. So
and we do self-insure, so we don't insure all our assets. So as Hayden's already pointed out, land isn't insured. We don't insure things that, like if you look at our excess, which just trying to think what it is, but it's in the tens of thousands, you wouldn't insure any assets under that excess. So that's things like all your parks assets, your park benches, all that sort of stuff. None of that sort of thing isn't insured. So there are assets that we basically self-insure.
The relevance of that is that there are some councils that have significant amounts uninsured. And, I think this is indicating it's a full insurance program. So ensuring all of the material assets that can be insured are insured. So,
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll go to Terry.
Look, mine wasn't a question or wants to make a comment.
Why don't we do that now, and then I'd like to ask Aileen if she's got anything to add, and then we'll get it resolved. Terry, go ahead.
So thank you for the report. It's a very comprehensive annual report put together by staff. So I sat down and spent quite a bit of time over the weekend or the last few days reading it, and in terms of being like a governance apprentice or ratepayer, trying to understand it. And there is some detail in here for sure. But there are some learnings from this. We're going to pass this today, I'm sure, but there's some learnings I think we should also take aboard going forward. And I've just made a few notes here if I can just talk to them.
Sure.
So first of all, I'm talking about what go through was the roading resilience program, which Stephen Town was very proactive with, and Leon and John pushed hard. We made some assumptions in there. And while those assumptions were maybe not district funded or district paid by council, there's an expectation when we do that, and we put in a plan that the ratepayers think there's something in there for them. And it's really sad when we actually fail to do something across the line. So I'm just flagging that as one of the areas that I noted that we'll get some queries around it. And that was some big numbers. It was 1.4 billion and $800 million. It was a big number that we never made any progress on, and that's just because of the change of the government, I suppose. Sure. The other one around that was also the coastal protection, the Thames Wall project. That was an assumption also in there, and that's really being told there's no funding around that.
Yeah.
So that's going to get pushed out, or it's going to be difficult down the track. And just trying to...
Terry, that just to clarify, the Thames protection is part of our LTP.
Yeah.
It doesn't feature in the annual report, but it's part of the LTP.
The LTP.
Program. So if we can keep it to, I know you've got some stuff that you've been working through, but if we can keep it to the annual report and separate from the LTP at the moment, that would be helpful. Otherwise, people are going to end up getting confused.
Well, it's just kicking the can down the road there. And the other one obviously was Totara Valley Road. It's part of that program that started 4 years ago. And really, again, I'm just saying that when we started that program, we were talking about widening the road up the hill further and getting on with it. It's now quite a big project, and it's getting longer in the teeth. And I hear the board chair making noises about it, but what it's showing us that we failed to get a funding model from the government over that. There was a disappointment.
Terry, we're getting off track here, mate.
Well, I was just trying to explain that.
But
these things come into.
We're here to adopt the annual report. This is LTP stuff that we're relitigating and revisiting. So yeah.
But just if I could comment there, I can, what councillor is doing is looking forwards, but what this document is doing is looking backwards. So all your comments are very relevant, but they're relevant in a forward-facing way in relation to the LTP, rather than the backwards looking, wrapping up the last year into the annual report.
Well, Tocha Valley was back a while, wasn't it? It was a long-term project back in the time. Anyway, so what I was just trying to say is that when I look at it from a governance point of view, looking in there, that when we make these assumptions, we feel like there's an expectation that we're putting out to the community. And that's my concern, is that sometimes, regardless of where the money's coming from, there's an expectation that we're going to do something. And I'm just flagging that to say we need to think about it when we do future plans for the council.
Yeah, Terry, I'm going to push back on that, because I don't think it's a fair comment to be throwing at the staff when they are doing the work on the annual report, which is what's gone before. So all of your comments, as Aileen said, are relevant, but they are part of our future planning for the LTP, and it's all stuff that we're working on as a council and as a governance team. So we'll leave it there, I think. Aileen, did you have some wrap-up comments for this?
Yeah, if I could just comment, probably similar to the comments I made when we had considered the document at the Audit and Risk Committee, and that is just to recognise that in the last 18 months, we've actually done 3 annual reports. That's very abnormal. And you'll recall one of the audits actually started on the first day that we were in a declaration for Cyclone Gabriel. So we've done 3 annual reports since then. That's a huge amount of work, a huge amount of resource that takes. And not only have we done 3 annual reports, we've actually dealt with the recovery largely from the North Island weather events, as well as administered the government money, which was mainly in the previous financial year, but partly comes over into this annual report. So as well as that, we've done an annual plan, and you'll recall we had to make some fairly difficult calls in the wake of the cyclone around prioritising the roading funding. And one of the assumptions we did make around that roading contribution was a little bit out, and you can see the financial result in here that we were slightly out. And we've also had timing issues because we were trying to do lots and lots of roading because of the far rates that were available to us, and because our network was broken and our communities were disconnected. We prioritised that roading, and we have had some of it go over the 2 financial years. So on top of that, we also did a long-term plan, and you all know how much resource that took up and how much work that was. And we also delivered the long-term plan on time, and that was us getting back into the rhythm. We are just about there, aren't we, with the adopting of this annual report today, the 31st being the deadline for adoption. We're also on time, and we've just kicked off our annual plan work internally. I call it the hamster wheel, because it really is. It just keeps turning. It was just turning a little bit faster for a while there, but I think we're back into the normal rhythm of events. So once we've signed this off, you can expect that annual plan to come to you in draft form in December sometime. So just want to say I'm really proud of the team to have actually managed their way through this, and auditors, they're necessary. We need them. Our community depend on these documents for surety. The audit here is very, what do we say? It's very robust. So, when people say there's no transparency, perhaps they want to pick up this document and try and understand what it says and have a look at the audit opinion that goes with it, because it is very, very robust. So I just wanted to just finish by saying really proud of the team for having got through this, and of the councillors also for having got through this, because there's an awful lot of material to get through in the 18 months since the cyclone.
Thanks, Aileen. Much appreciated. So, Robin, please.
In Audit Risk, when we saw the draft copy, I wanted to say what a fantastic document is. I still think it's fantastic. I know that the auditors, that level of robustness has probably been a few extra long hours for you, Hayden, in your your team. But I do appreciate that it has been through that, and I would be very happy at this point to be the person who moves recommendation 2 and 3 to adopt the annual report and to delegate the chief executive to make any minor changes.
Thank you, Robin. So I had moved this from the chair, and we've got a seconder in John Grant. I'm happy to hand that over to you if you prefer to. I had intended it for the whole thing, but I don't mind. We can split it up. So why don't we do this? I'll move to receive. John, you happy to, all those in favour? All right. Item 2, that we adopt and delegate items 2 and 3. Robin, you happy to move those? Seconder, please. Delhi, all those in favour? Thank you, team. Well done. Well done. Good work.
Can I just add to the words that have been spoken and just, acknowledge from a councillor's perspective, the amount of hard work that has gone in by the finance team. I really, understand that and appreciate the effort that has gone in.
Thank you, John. Much appreciated. And I'm sure that's reflected by all the councillors around the table. Good work. Okay. Our work here is done. Unless I've missed anything. Okay. So we'll close the meeting now, and are we going to take a short break and then go to our workshop? What have we got next?